Hello and welcome, my unconventional quandaries. How you doing today? It's Super John Bombo here. Don't forget to press the like button if you like these types of videos, guys. Really do appreciate that. Played some half cash mode for you. This is four circles, which is a pretty. Or actually, is there a three circles map too? It's like three circles. There's four circles. We're gonna make a five circles eventually. I don't know, man. But we're gonna try out a pretty unconventional strategy using Benjamin today. He's $1,100, even on half cash mode, which is fairly difficult to save up for, I will admit it. But once you get him, he's going to start making you money, hopefully. The weird thing about him, by the way, the reason why most people don't use him in the end, is because even though he does make you some money, and he does make Moabs easier to pop, he also makes you less money once you start popping Moabs. Or once you start popping higher tier Bloons. For example, a ceramic that might make you, you know, at some point in the game, $90, will no longer make you $90 anymore. It will make you $1. Because once you pop the ceramic layer, it doesn't matter anymore. It's just worth $1. You just pop the balloon. Same thing with a Moab that might make you $400 over here. You pop that thing with one thing, give you $1. It can kind of suck. So that's why he's sort of a bad hero in some situations, man. Sure, he can make the game a little bit easier, and if you get him early on in the game, he can be kind of nice, but he's weird. He makes you money, but also doesn't make you money, which is just so confusing in so many ways. And I honestly don't know by the end of the game if he will actually make you positive money or negative money. So especially for chimps mode, I don't know, man. I actually should do that test just to see like do the exact same towers or like see exactly how much money I start off the game with or exactly how much money I'm going to end the game with the exact same towers with using him or without using him. But I'm done with that. The strategy basically revolves around actually a pretty low level boomerang to start, a pretty low level dart monk. We got the free dart monk here and just an extra boomerang. We're going to pop our hero down pretty much right away. He's going to start not only earning us money, but if we need to, he can also earn us lives though. And that's actually pretty interesting on half cash mode because I feel like we could lose lives pretty easily actually. Especially on these harder maps. That might make it actually more reasonable to use this guy. Um, it's kind of as a random sort of thought out here. But also, in addition to talking about the strategy today, I wanted to talk about some of the worst jobs that I've ever done. So it doesn't really matter where you put this guy, by the way. You probably want to put him closer ish to some of your main towers. Ish. Kind of, a little bit, something like that. But it doesn't need to be that way. The main reason why is because if you use your hackathon little ability over here, it's going to make your guys be a little bit stronger for a few seconds, but then it'll make you weaker after those few seconds, or just stop you from attacking for a little while. So sometimes it's really just not worth it to pop that thing down here. So what we're going to do is on round 15, sadly enough, man, we're just going to tank. We're tanking and ranking. That's all we can do, man. We got the faster ranks here. Still not going to be enough. Double faster ranks. Still not even going to be quite enough to pop these guys. But again, we can not only earn our shield back, we can even earn lives back with Benji up in here. But he can't go over max, which is sort of the sad thing about him. If he would honestly be a pretty good hero if he could go over max lives. If he can get 110, 120, 130, 150, whatever, man. I feel like he might be worth it. But at this point, kind of just lame not to be able to do that, to be honest. So we're going for a 2-2 boomerang, which is one of my favorite boomerangs, by the way. Believe it or not, I hate it in battles. Love it in Bloons TD 6. Shoots really fast, pops a lot of balloons. Misses quite a bit, though. That's probably the worst thing about him, is he can miss quite a bit with that thing. But just because he does so much pop and power already, he's wonderful. So I'm going to break this into two little baby stories, I guess, or two little things that I suppose I could talk about here. The first one I'm going to talk about is probably the worst smelling thing that I've ever smelled in my entire life. Though I have smelled skunks, and that's a different type of bad smelling because it makes your nose like burn. But even though it makes your nose burn, it's not really. It's like bad, but it almost like makes you not able to smell it. So I have been not physically sprayed myself with skunk, but Luna has been sprayed by skunks multiple times. So I've been outside while she's been sprayed by skunks multiple times, and I have had to deal with a dog sprayed by a skunk in my house multiple times. And sure, giving him a bath helps a little bit. Not gonna make it just go away or something, you know. And when I say multiple times, it's been oh baby, at least 3 times now. She's been sprayed. But the one of the worst smelling things in my entire life that I've ever had to deal with here. By the way, if you guys don't know, I used to work at a flower shop. I still do help out there every once in a while, make some extra cash. I'm not exactly the richest guy around, so I gotta make do with what I got, right? So especially around Mother's Day, they asked me to come in and help out because that's their busiest time of the year. But anyways, my I used to work there since I was 15. I worked there from when I was 15 to about 24, and then after I was 24 is when I started to only work there like part time and stuff, and now I just go every once in a while to sort of help out. But uh, when I say I worked there, I feel like a lot of people they have a fairly specific job that they do, right? You're either, um, I feel like you're the engineer or whatever. You engineer things. Like you're the mechanic. You fix cars. That's what you do. You fix things. Okay. Well, me, I was like in everything. It wasn't a huge place. We had like 20 employees or so, and a lot of them were part time, including myself. I was like the like most. I got the most hours out of all the part time people. Basically, that's kind of how it went down. But anyways, oh god. So I made a mistake here, by the way. What you want to do is, yeah, I've got the boomerang all good and stuff, and then for lead popping power, I made a stupid mistake. I did not want to put my cannon there. What I wanted to do is I want to put the cannon on the other side. So I'm just gonna take the loss here. We're going to pop the monkey village down so we can fit it inside the range of not only our dart monkey and our boomerang here, but also our heli pilot, and still pop down a cannon in range here as well pretty easily, and even more cannons if we want to. But now we're doing pretty good, man. Don't forget, for round 40, which is usually a pretty difficult level, not only we don't just have to pop the mob layer and the ceramics in this situation, we can just pop the mob layer. All right, just the mob layer and done. No balloons in underneath at all. Yes, it makes us less money, but yes, it's much easier to pop. So this can matter for levels where you just like can't pop around 40 Moabs, man. I know it's weird and kind of sucks sometimes, but just watch this. Just kablamo. Look at the monies though. 285, 430. So it gave us like what? It's like $100 or so. Actually, it was not terrible, but not as much as it normally give. Again, he's weird. He is very weird. So getting down to the nitty gritty here, I guess. The nitty dirty, the gritty, dirty nastiness. I was the everything guy, so I did almost everything. I've done roofing jobs there. I've done um, air conditioning stuff. I've made floral arrangements. I do the roses. I do the flowers. I've worked as a cashier. I've worked out in front. I do the carryouts. Like just about anything under the sun that you can think of that could be a job. I've changed the lights, of course. I've mopped the floor. Like I load up the. I used to load up the like make sure the front looked nice, so it was all filled with all the things that we sell. Just like I watered the flowers, like I've drove the forklift, I've drove the bobcat, I've done deliveries with the dump truck. Like, I've done everything, man. Like seriously, under the sun, I've done everything there. Um, but the one job that really was just pretty terrible was kind of early on in my job there. We found this metal barrel, all right, which it looked like there was just some dust on top, and we're like, oh okay. And I was told that I have to throw it in the garbage, not the entire metal barrel, just the things inside the metal barrel. So me and my friend are like, and me and my it was actually by that point though, I was actually kind of nice. I got my friend a job with me, so one of my good friends from high school actually worked with me, and I was like, dude, I need some help over here. We're gonna use this. We're gonna dump out this garbage can over here. So we like. This thing was heavy, by the way. Like when you talk about one of these metal garbage cans, I'm talking about one of those ones that you might see like homeless people like burning stuff in. Like those things are heavy, man. They're heavy duty too. I found out later, after the fact, that supposedly there was quote unquote paper ash in there. Now, I didn't really know what that meant, but according to what I found out later, was basically that what they meant by that was they literally used to burn paper in there, just a bunch of burnt paper, which doesn't sound that bad on its own, except for the fact that this burnt paper then got some other random crap thrown in there, and then got wet and turned into a giant pile of whatever kind of moldy, nasty, wet, gross kind of evil thing was inside of this thing, man. But of course, they want us to keep the barrel. So what we did was I got the forklift out there. We sort of maneuvered the barrel on top of the forklift. We got it over near the garbage or the the dumpster, and we're trying to like lift it up and like dump it in. But the issue is that basically one person had to go kind of on top of the dumpster to help us dump, and one person had to sort of stay on the bottom and just like manage it. You know, make sure it's not going to tip over or fall or anything like that. So I'm sitting there on the bottom. Or no, I lied. My friend is sitting there on the bottom, just sort of holding up the can as much as he possibly can. And the worst part was there was a little hole in the bottom. And of course, like I said, it's sort of wet and moldy nastiness. Guess what? Some of the juices from the terribleness up in there started coming down and dripping into his eye and his mouth, and like, oh my god, oh my god. So for me though, I had to go inside of this garbage can and rip out the nasty, moldy, gross stuff and like dump it out into the thing. It wasn't all coming out. So I was just in my bare hands, by the way. Should have worn gloves, but it was just like my friend was already up there. We already had this thing. I was just like, boom, getting this stuff out of here. And it was the most one of the most terrible things that I've ever had to deal with in my entire life. Seriously, I can't really explain the smell. Um, just pure rotting is probably the best way you can explain it. Pure rotting, whatever you want to call it. You probably don't want to watch this video anymore because of this nastiness, but that was one of the worst jobs that I had to do there. It was definitely like the worst smelling thing that I've ever had to do there. Like the most one of the nastiest things I've ever had to do there. Of course, after we're done, my friend's eyes are like burning and terrible, and he's like, "Dude, I'm like my eye might fall out or something." I don't even remember, but we were just joking about it a little bit. Luckily, his eye did not fall out. He did not get an infection. That was the good news. I had to go wash my entire hands and my forearms even had like all the paper ash mold crap on it. It was terrible, man. I'm not sure if they put extra plant material in there too or what, because it was bad, man. It was real bad. So we go on round 63. Make sure you've got your bionic boomer. You got a glue gunner here, and probably some extra fire wizards as well. That should be more than enough to take down round 63 without too much hinge action going on here. Right, yeah. Now the other terrible job there was weeds. Oh god. So this place was pretty old. It was, I think the entire place was actually about 80 years old or so, but if not longer, maybe almost 90 years old actually. The place had been open for about 90 years or so, but there's the one greenhouse in there has been at least 70 years old. All right, I swear, like at least it's literally called. They literally call it the old greenhouse, as if that makes any sense. It's the old house. It's the old greenhouse. It's just it really is. Terribly, terribly old. It is actually made of glass windows. It's like so much paint and plaster and garbage has gone into this thing. I don't know how it survived so many tornadoes and hailstorms and stuff like that. Like legit, it's just like crazy to imagine. Like if there was actually any reasonable size hail there, oh, that thing would be done. It's just garbage. Like you can't do anything to that thing anymore. I think they've just been lucky with the life there so far. But one of the worst things about this greenhouse is that I feel like a lot of the newer houses that's just full concrete on the bottom, right? Well, this thing's so old that they didn't have a bunch of concrete, or they were too stupid to build concrete on the bottom. So instead, what they did, they just left dirt down there. So there's some concrete pathways. That's the good news. But most of it is not concrete walkways, or at least underneath the benches, going all the way down. There's just giant piles of dirt. Um, so it's like it kind of makes sense from like one point of view, because if you have any dirt falling off of the plants or falling out of the pots or whatever while you're growing, it just falls down and falls into those little pits right there. The issue is that weeds grow in there. There's a bunch of fertilizer that runs out of the plants, just pops right down in there, and you get crazy amounts of weeds down there, like insane amounts. The worst part about it is we got to get rid of these things somehow. So imagine these greenhouses are like at least 100 feet long, and you've got like 5 different like benches that you need to go under over here and just pull out all the weeds. Now there's no easy way to pull out the weeds because there's rocks. They've tried so many things to make the weeds not grow. They put rocks underneath them. They put like um, there's like giant pillars in the way. There's just gravel in there. There's like so much garbage, and it's just mixtures of dirt and wet and grossness everywhere. So what you have to do is you either have to go in with your hands and just hand pull all the weeds, hundreds of feet down, through multiple little areas, or you have to use these like you can try to use special tools that will scrape the weeds out, but it usually doesn't do a good job. So you're literally in there, deep in there, like scraping these weeds out with your nails and your hands and getting yourself dirty for like hours at a time. Now, even crazier, guess what? Guess when you usually are pulling the weeds? Not usually on a nice sunny day. It's usually on the crappy rainy days when you can't do anything outside. It's weed pulling days. So you're literally like the greenhouse is leaky. It's old. So you're like sitting on wet, dirty concrete, just kind of scraping along and slowly pulling out all these nasty, dirty weeds, and your hands are just gross and muddy and nasty, like, and you're all wet and soaked, and it's cold outside. It's just, oh, babe, I'm glad I'm not. I'm glad I don't have to do that anymore. I really am glad that I don't have to pull the weeds anymore. That was a miserable job. All right. Now, the one thing that I was weird about is I always felt like, hey, if it doesn't kill me, it makes me stronger. So I kind of lived by that mentality for a long time in my life. That I thought it was just kind of cool that I was cool enough to to do all this. That I was tough enough to do all these weird, crazy jobs, and then it was like putting hair on my chest or something like that. Not really, but like. Um, it did. It made me realize that there are crappy jobs that you're gonna have to do in life, and you got to power through them. Life isn't all candy canes and rainbows over here, man. If it was, life would be real minty, kind of curved, and have a little stick on top. Kind of weird. But life isn't all candy canes and rainbows. Sadly, it's not all puppies and chocolate cake. It's not all Halloween candy and Christmas time. Sometimes it's nails on a chalkboard. And oh my God, don't talk about that anymore, Chris. Don't talk about that anymore. That was one of the worst jobs forever. And so you'd literally be doing this for hours upon hours at a time, just sticking your hands in dirt and mud and pulling weeds. And the worst part about it is that when you're pulling out these weeds, like you have to go back and like pick up the weeds and put them in a garbage can, and then like carry them out to the dumpster, and it's like heavy and raining outside and stuff. So it's just like that was the only nice thing about it is that you got like sort of a change instead of just sitting on the floor in like an uncomfortable position. You got to at least change and go pick up heavy garbage cans and carry them to the garbage. Is it sad that like that's the enjoyment out of the day was to like go and pick up heavy stuff and just carry them somewhere? Yeah, kind of weird, right? But anyways, this is the strategy, guys. We got Benjamin over here. You got some Bionic Boomers. You got a couple Wizards. You got our Heli Palette and a couple Alchemists on top of making sure that Glue Gunner is fairly important right there. Pop that guy in there to make sure you're going to slow down the Ceramic class Bloons so you can pop all the rest of these guys. If you enjoyed the video, press that like button for me. I'd really appreciate that. Subscribe if you haven't. Hit the little bell button so you get notified for future videos. Thank you guys so much for watching. Of course, have a super duper delicious day.